All right, guys, so today's video, I want to offer something up to the vast majority of people that watch me that are just interested in Olympic weightlifting, but I want to offer something to you guys that would significantly help you out, and that is in the gym. Your goals may be to get in shape, to get stronger, to be more athletic. You might want to do certain things for sports, whatever that may be. I want to offer you a general strength program utilizing years and years of knowledge that I've accrued from strength training. This program that I've built here and that we're going to go over will be up on my Patreon. I'm offering this program for $1 a month. That is incredibly cheap. But for me to have consistent payment, consistent income, it is completely worth it, because I think when you subscribe, you support myself, but you also support this channel, right? I will keep continuing making videos about Olympic weightlifting, about strength and conditioning, and try to help you guys out as much as possible. And with the help of that income from Patreon, it really does make a world of difference. So let's jump into this. I'll kind of go over the nuts and bolts of it, and then how I can transfer it over to you. So guys, one thing that when I'm looking at strength and conditioning programming, I want to cover all the bases, but I also want to do it in a very efficient way. I don't want, a typical athlete that isn't an Olympic weightlifter to spend so much time doing Olympic weightlifting movements. I think that the hang power snatch and the hang power clean, or the power snatch and the power clean, are very attainable very quickly, and they're very effective. One thing that I try to do when I build a microcycle, and that's just a weekly schedule, is I try to, like I said, cover all the bases. So what I want to get is, typically I want to get some sort of power. And when I put any sort of power component, I'm going to put that at the front of the workout, a strength component, and then an accessory component. That is the meat and potatoes here. From the accessories, you can get hypertrophy, but there's a lot of science that says you're going to get hypertrophy regardless of what you do. And in fact, when people get into this mindset of thinking hypertrophy, strength, and power, it becomes a big convoluted group of semantics. So if we look at day one here, it's below knee hang power snatch. So if you are not a weightlifter, you're going to see that and be like, I'm already out. I don't know what to do here. So what I'm going to do on my Patreon post is provide you guys all of the requisite information so that you can accomplish this on your own. So the first thing is below knee hang power snatch. So what I've done is I've made a video teaching you how to Olympic lift for athletic performance. And with this video right here, Olympic lifting for athletic performance, the power snatch, I have formulated legitimate and very quick progression to get you guys to do this. So all I would say is follow along with this video and practice with this video. From there, you can go into the workout. I honestly think that within 10 minutes, you'll be able to get a hang power snatch with just the barbell. And if you're doing that on week one, just the barbell for the hang power snatch, that's fine. All reps must be fast and controlled. This movement is an explosive primer and not a predominant strength builder. So do not look at it like a waste of time, or you're not lifting heavy enough. Move properly and move well. You're going to feel better going into the strength movements. As a disclaimer for this first week, just do things light with a full range of motion and do it properly. Do not get antsy and try to go heavy. I promise you there will be heavy lifting. I just like to really, really focus on technique first, and then move on from there. A lot of people want to get ahead of themselves. So here we have, again, the back squat, a staple. So we have hang power snatch, back squat, very, very light, working on establishing technique for the low squat. So how do we establish technique for the low squat? Again, I've made videos for this. The 5-minute squat protocol video. This video right here is incredibly helpful. Being able to do a deep squat with just your body weight unsupported is so valuable. People think, should I squat ass to grass or should I not? Look at the squat as like a multi-joint way of growing muscle, increasing mobility, and not quite using strength immediately. We look at the squat as if it is a instrument to increase maximal strength. So if I'm not squatting heavy, I'm not squatting at all. What we can do is create the largest possible range of motion within the bounds of our physiology and stay safe while doing it, then grow from there. No one says that you have to take a back squat and feel heavy weight on your back. No one says that you have to do that, but it's almost assumed. You see a lot of people saying deep squats are bad for your back. Well, they are bad for your back if you've never trained deep squats before. And how do you start training deep squats? Well, you better be able to do it with just your body weight. So that's why I have this. Follow along with this simple squat mobility routine right here. And you can see I have regressions to this as well. Hanging onto a pole, trying to decrease the angle between your hamstrings and your calves, trying to increase the range of motion in your ankles, doing this by actually squatting, right? At a certain point, you get good enough and you can let go, and then you're in that deep squat position. So people will be like, well, how do you get rid of butt wink then? And how do you do? Typically, butt wink will occur when someone isn't strong enough to both sit low and sit up. So what happens is they sit low, they sit up, and their butt goes underneath. Oh, but my chest is up. Well, not entirely, no. We have to be able to develop the confidence to sit down very low and then go from there. You're developing that mobility. When you get onto a back squat, it must be very, very light. So I use RPE 6. Okay, so the RPE scale is rate of perceived exertion. A lot of times people look at this as reps in reserve. And that would mean if you did a set of 6 and I wanted you to have 4 reps in reserve, that would mean if you did a set of 10, it would have been the heaviest you could have gone. Similar to the RPE scale, but it gets thrown off a little bit when we have volume. Typically, you want to think RPE scale is like this. A 9 is max effort. A 10 is the best you could ever do ever. An 8 is very heavy training. A 7 is the sweet spot for heavy training, where you can play with the line of you're using heavy weights, but you're moving it fast. Right? You're using heavy weights, you're moving it fast. So it feels kind of heavy, but you're able to crush it. That's the sweet spot always for me. I think 7, 7.5. When you get up to 8, you start to slow down a bit. That's when you can get recovery costs from moving like that. This is an RPE 6, so it's not even heavy. And you're moving it very fast. And you're getting full range of motion. Okay, this is an incredibly important aspect, and that's why I'm going over it so much. This is where you're going to get the best bang for your buck if you want general strength training. After that, we have pull-ups. In my opinion, the pull-up, I think it's the single greatest movement to change upper body physiology. And it's not just pull-ups where you kind of like bend your elbows and pull up like this, and you keep your shoulders up high and you pull. What I'm looking for is, you would call it an active full hang. And that's what I have it here, an active full hang. Now, when you're hanging from the bar, what I want you to look for is locked out elbows, completely locked out elbows, right? We want somewhat of a neutral position. We don't want to be so much back here. We want a neutral position without letting our shoulders get near our ears. Okay. So if you go dead hang, you're going to be here and it's going to fall up like this. What we want to do is pull that down and hang from there. That's home base for us. We need to be comfortable from here. What we're going to do is do our pull-ups from there. When we pull, you have to think low to high. So you want to establish that movement first. You're pulling from your lat, then it goes up. It's like pull from the lat to the upper lat, and then you start pulling from the bicep right at the end. Okay, that is what we're looking for throughout the pull-up. If you do this properly, your physiology changes. It changed my life. When I went into college, I could maybe do 2-3 pull-ups, and I was a very good athlete. I mean, I went to college for Division I lacrosse. I was all conference in football. I played sports my whole life. I just couldn't do pull-ups because I was a long and lanky boy, and I was weak. And I started working on pull-ups, like doing sets of 1, sets of 2. But my strength and conditioning coach at the time taught me to pull low to high. And at the end of college, I could do a set of 15 and my upper body looked incredibly different from when I came in. So I have a huge bias for pull-ups. After that, push-ups. What you can see here is vertical pull, horizontal push, okay? The next day, we do a vertical push and a horizontal pull. Okay, so we're doing two different things. You can do vertical push, vertical pull, that's fine. I just like to order it this way. Keeps things a little bit interesting, but you wanna get vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull. That's what I try to accomplish in my microcycles here. So push-ups, completely underrated movement because again, it's one of those things, it's like pull-ups, right? Just pull on the bar and go for it. Push-ups, just go and do those push-ups. The same things are true here. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Don't let the elbows don't have to be in here. I don't like that style of push-up. Don't want the elbows to flare out here. I like a nice, 45 degrees. I don't know exactly. What you want to do is you want to actually get your body weight over your hands. Typically people in the push-ups, they push back. They start doing their push-ups behind their hands. You want to be on top of your hands. What that'll do is it'll keep your shoulders back and down, okay? The most important thing here with the push-up, you go down, you do not let your hips touch the floor. That way you can maintain moving in one solid piece on the way down. Then as you come up, your hips and your shoulders rise at the same time. Now, if we're doing this with an eccentric, like I've written here, 5 sets with a 5-second eccentric, that is tough. I don't care who you are. If you struggle to push out of that, which many of you will, all you have to do is just reset from the top and just do the eccentrics. It might seem silly, right? We go to the weight room to lift heavy weight, to get bigger, but I promise you, something as simple as a push-up can be incredibly difficult. After that, we have side plank and hollow hold. Those are two movements. Hollow hold, you can just search that one. I think these are incredibly good bang for your buck. Moving on to the next day, we have deadlifts. So I don't like to do a predominant strength movement squat back to back. You can absolutely do that. I just don't want to do that with you guys. Preferably, I would do some sort of a hinge after that. So our hinge movement is the deadlift. Generally with most people, I do like to do touch and go reps. And the reason for that is I like to treat it similar to the back squat. What do you think about when you unrack a barbell with the back squat? You're allowed to start from a standing posture and set from a standing posture, then you go down. With the deadlift, you don't start from a standing posture. You start from a closed posture, okay? And then you have to set and pull from there. So what I like to do is get your first rep, start from the top, take a breath in, just like you're squatting, go down, touch the floor very lightly. Here I give the example, act like there are glass plates under the weights and you don't want to break them. Touch the floor lightly, stand up fast. A lot of people are going to complain about the fact that I'm using touch and go. I'd say that's predominantly because people love to slam the bar off the floor. That's not what I'm looking for here. Like I said, I want to be able to maintain a good posture under movement, under load. That's the point of the deadlift. If you guys want to be competitive powerlifters, yeah, do something else. There's nothing wrong with just resetting your deadlifts. This is just a preference of mine. So the goal here is to do these reps relatively easily. Again, starting 70% is incredibly light. If you do not have a deadlift max, start at the RPE 6 that we talked about with the back squat. You're going to go directly into a seated box jump. Seated box jump, the reason that I put those two together is a style of training called contrast training. Some people call it French contrast training. Some people call it post-activation potentiation. All a lot of mumbo jumbo terms, but what you can think about is with the strength movements, you're able to activate a lot of the muscles in your body. Therefore, when you go and do these movements with power, you're more easily able to activate those muscles and create a better stimulus. That's the idea behind it. Post-activation potentiation, you are getting the most potential activation in a certain muscle group. After this, we're gonna practice the Turkish Get Up. And I like the Turkish Get Up simply as a tool to warm up the shoulder capsule. Basically, it's a full body movement, But what it does is because it's so moment arm dependent that you're forced to have solid positions or else you won't be able to do it. And what that does is it'll warm you up tremendously for the next movement, which is a strict press. Strict press, again, the reason we're doing that is because we had a horizontal push the day before with push up. This time we have a vertical push. Same thing here. We're going to go with an RPE 6 out of 10, do a set every 90 seconds. Most of these movements, guys, have 90-second intervals or 60-second intervals, whatever. They're rest dependent. After that, we have inverted row. Now, what you're going to notice with inverted row is that it's a horizontal pull. We had a vertical pull the day before. With the inverted row, same thing applies. Keep the shoulders down, pull low to the chest. Same thing across the board here. Back accessory, this is your choice. I like all of them to be focused on the low back and the low back health, right? So back extension, you're gonna do, a lot of people call this hyperextension, but when in reality, you're just extending. You can do that on the glute ham developer if you have one. If you don't have one, do Supermans and reverse hypers as well. That's an incredible machine. If you have reverse hypers around you or you can find one to use, that is the one that I would choose out of this. We have a rest day. This is, again, one of my favorite splits for general strength training is 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off. After that, we're gonna go back into a power movement. We have below the knee hang power clean. I have a video to help you guys do this. And this time it's a video of me actually teaching my progression to newer lifters. Meg squats and Kristen Dunsmore. For the most part, they haven't done power cleaning like much at all. And Meg actually did Olympic weightlifting for a little bit. So I guess that first part was untrue, but this was an opportunity for me to explain to somewhat beginners how to do this. And if you guys watch this, you will be hang power cleaning within that same day if you follow along with it. So we go from below knee hang power clean. Same thing here. We have reps on the minute. We're going to start with the barbell. Then we have front squats. The same thing will happen here as the back squats. Use your deep squat. Develop the deep squat. Do not look at this as pure strength. We don't have to lift heavy. I want good range of motion. From there, we have bench press. Same thing. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Have a decent arch. Allow the bar to go low. Same thing here. This time we have a horizontal press, the same as day one. And you're going to see a vertical press the next day after this. So bench press. Then we have, you guessed it, pull-ups again, because I love pull-ups. And like I said, I think it's one of the best movements that you can do for upper body development. Core movements here, Russian twist, and then grip work, 3 sets of max effort bar hang holds. Those suck. Have fun with those. Then we have push press. That is our power movement and our vertical press for the day. So we're accomplishing 2 things in one. Again, we have, if you don't know how to push press, there's so many different tutorials online. It is a relatively simple movement when you compare it to the snatch and the clean. But again, when we're looking at these power movements, guys, they don't have to be heavy. They can just almost be an extension to your warm-up, a primer, an activator, right? This is something that will allow you to move forward into the strength portions of the lift, maybe with a little bit more activation. Maybe you have a sweat going, you're a little bit more warm. Utilize these as those tools first and foremost, then you can start going up in weight. What we have with that paired with it is broad jumps. Again, we have that post-activation potentiation. Bent over barbell row, pretty straightforward with this one. Same thing, again, keep the shoulders down, pull low, right? You want to push low when you're doing push-ups, right? You want the weight over your hands more, over your fingers, so you can push low and keep a good posture. The same thing when you're pulling, you want to pull low. Dumbbell lateral raises, everyone knows what these are, they're simple. And then again, back accessory choice. Now, guys, like I said, this program's gonna be up on Patreon and it can work for most athletes, most people out there. Anyone can do this program and increase and do better. You know, obviously, as a strength coach, I can't produce a program that is good for everyone. But what I can say is that this covers most of the bases. I have coached lots and lots of athletes across different disciplines. I currently coach very elite grapplers. As an example, Andrew Tackett, who just fought Mika Galvao. Mika Galvao, if you guys don't know who he is, I wouldn't be surprised, but he's essentially the LeBron James of grappling right now. And Andrew was able to go with him for all 15 minutes without getting submitted. He did lose, but Andrew has developed incredibly since I started working with him. I won't take credit for him doing that for Mika, but what I will take credit for is Andrew had a horrible back when he met me. So much so that he was scared to even get in the weight room. And what I told Andrew was, we are going to do everything that everyone else does. We're going to do it much lighter, and I'm going to be watching you the entire time to make sure you're moving properly. 4 weeks later, just 4 weeks later, not a single peep of any back issues at all. 12 weeks later, 16 weeks later, his deadlift is up 50 kilos, 60 kilos. His back squat is up 50 kilos. He is a stronger, definitely bigger male than he was before. And we developed all these things with these very basic barbell movements. Yes, they hang power snatch. Yes, they hang power clean. It doesn't have to be crazy. It just has to be simple and effective and to the point. And that's what I'm going to provide to all of you out there. So please check it out on Patreon, subscribe to me, stay subscribed to me. It's just $1 a month, for God's sakes. And tag me on Instagram and let me know if this thing works for you and if it's helping you. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one.